Seyfried here, back again with another video. Now in today's video we're going to be discussing cancer. We're going to be talking about what it is, how you get it, how we can prevent it, and how it's possible for you to cure or treat it. Alright, trying to make it a short video, so I'm going to get right into it right now. Now first and foremost, let me just say I'm not a medical doctor, so this is not medical advice. I'll put my sources at the end of the video where I'll get this information from. So if you are willing to research yourself, you can go there and see exactly what the research is saying. Alright, so cancer. Currently as it is defined by majority of scientists and researchers out there as a genetic disease. Alright, a genetic disease wherein cells are growing and dividing uncontrollably, and this is a result of some genetic abnormality within that cell or within that nucleus, right? So it's a result of some genetic dysfunction then, or disorder. However, modern research has now shown that cancer is in fact more so a metabolic disease, which is a result of direct mitochondrial damage, which later results in changes to the DNA or damage to the DNA of the cell. Right? So the newest data is suggesting, or based on evidence actually, is showing that cancer is more of a metabolic disease as opposed to a genetic disease. And this has massive implications in terms of its treatment and how you actually target cancers and actually destroy it and get rid of it. Right? So let's get into that. Now, as I said before, they say it was a metabolic disease, right? A mitochondrial dysfunction. So what is a mitochondria? Now, most of you who have been to high school probably know what a mitochondria is, right? They always have it as, oh, the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, right? So that is where energy is created in the body, in the cells. The mitochondria is actually like the powerhouse. So basically, glucose is sent to the cell, and the mitochondria breaks it down, and through a poor breakdown process, it transfers that, it changes the glucose to an action compound known as ATP, adenosine triphosphate. There's one of this adenosine molecule and three triphosphate molecules. Now, with each of those triphosphate molecules, when you give off one, you create energy, you create an action. Once one is given off, it is replaced again. So glucose is broken down and replaced again. So that is how energy is provided or it's created. So you have adenosine triphosphate. A phosphate given off allows an action to be done or energy to be created. And that phosphate is then replaced. That is how it continues the cycle, energy cycle. Now, in a mitochondria that is damaged, for example, and you might ask, how can it be damaged? Well, it is easily damaged by stress. Anything that causes a rise in reactive oxygen species in the body, which are basically some ions that are bases that are quite damaging to the body. They cause aging, they cause all kind of problems in the body. These are things that you want to get rid of. That is what antioxidants are good for. They get rid of these reactive oxygen species so they don't have the chance to damage organs or cells and so forth. So an excess of that can cause damage to the mitochondria. You have also diabetes, and excess sugar can cause damage to the mitochondria. I mentioned before stress, I didn't mention about lack of sleep, environmental factors, asbestos, all of those can affect the mitochondria. So what happens when they, how do they damage the mitochondria? Well, mitochondria has pores on the surface that is called mitochondrial permeability transition pores. These are what allows particles, electrons and so forth. Not electrons, particles, electrolytes and so forth to pass through, to and through the mitochondria. Now, as I say, a rise in reactive oxygen species or inflammation and so forth over time causes damage to these pores. So they're no longer as flexible as they used to be. They now become flaccid. Right? So anything can go in, anything can come out. And what tends to happen in that scenario is that the mitochondria tends to leak out calcium ions it tends to leak out hydrogen ions, and it tends to leak out antioxidants out of the mitochondria. Now you might say, why are these important? Well, calcium is very important in maintaining electrical and solute balance within the cell. Right? It's one of those important electrolytes: calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium. Right? These are very important when it comes to electrical conductivity in the body. And you know, from biology, if one is out of range, it affects the other. So you're losing calcium from the mitochondria. You're losing also hydrogen. Now, how does that matter? Hydrogen basically is a facilitator within the cell. Right? So it facilitates other reactions then within the cell. Right? So you have a loss of hydrogen, what that results in a loss of electron transfer system. This is a system within a cell which helps to regulate electrical conductivity by managing the other ions around, the calcium, the magnesium, and so forth, by balancing it out. So it's an internal system. If you don't have hydrogen, that system cannot work properly, because as I said before, hydrogen is a facilitator of that reaction. Also, I mentioned before, you lost antioxidants. As I told you, antioxidants are pivotal in the destruction of reactive oxygen species. Right? They're absolutely pivotal, they're essential for that purpose. If you have no antioxidants in the cell or in the mitochondria, then ROS is able to basically just act freely, do its damage. Right? So that is what is coming out of the cell through that pore that has been damaged. What is going in to replace it is just water, basically. So the mitochondria tends to swell and either rupture or burst or somehow get destroyed or disabled. Now, when this happens, usually a cell would just die after a period of time. But our bodies are quite an amazing thing. So what happens is that it then relies on an archaic form of energy creation. Right? And that form of energy creation is none other than fermentation. So what happens is that the cell now ferments the glucose. Right? Ferments the glucose with the aid and assistance of another acid. I think it's an amino acid actually, glutamine. Right? So with these two compounds, the glucose and the glutamine, it's able to create energy. Alright? This is why they say cancer loves sugar. Because with that sugar, it's able to directly create energy through the process of fermentation. Right? Now, normally your body cells can do this, but it doesn't do that effectively as cancer cells. These are like probably like, for your body, it's about 5% of energy creation. Majority of it is done through the mitochondria and breaking down glucose through the natural channels. But this channel via the cancer that is now forming, it breaks down glucose into a substance called pyruvate, and that is quite toxic to the body. Right? So what happens is now this damaged mitochondria, which is no longer functioning, this damaged DNA is transferred to the nucleus. Remember, it's already in the cell, so it goes to the nucleus and it goes into the DNA sequence. Remember, the cell hasn't died, it is still living. Right? So it is then incorporated into the sequence of the DNA, or the next sequence when replication is to come. And that replication is done with an energy production format of glucose fermentation to pyruvate, and not the mitochondrial route. As I said before, the nucleus knows the mitochondria is dead, but it realizes that there's another form of energy creation. So it puts that one into the sequence. Right? And that is where the genetic abnormalities come in. or the genetic changes or the alteration of the DNA. That is where it comes in, right? During the replication process.